top 10 of 2022 series. Here in this series right here, at the end of each NFL episode that we have coming up before the season starts, we'll have give a top 10 list of our positions, and we'll then give off our 32 list or our top 32 list, at least our top starters list on our socials that you guys can look out for. So I definitely want to start with the quarterback position. We did a lot of quarterback talking and quarterback movement. So I would love to start with the top 10 of 2022 series with quarterbacks. So Khalil, I would like you to give us your top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2022 season. You can give an explanation on some here and there, or if you want to just give off the list and then be like, this is why I have a certain player here, why. But we want to hear your top 10 quarterbacks of 2022.
Coming in at 10, thank you for the nice segue, nice alley-oop, my brother. Coming in at 10, we have the one and only Corey's Lord and Savior, Kyler Murray. I think he's just one of the most dynamic guys on the field. I think his ability to run, probably just as good as he can throw, is amazing. His ability to just he's lightning fast, throws on a dime. His biggest thing, if we just hit on it, will be that second half of the season. Can he keep it up with what he does in the first half of the season and the second half? If so, I think you're right along with it. I think he'll be in the MVP talks because last year around week 7, he was the front runner, which is crazy because I mean that's just another topic. But people talk about you guys as if that 7-0 was not a thing, and obviously you guys did crumble tremendously after that. But
they'll say it's a fluke, but we beat teams that a lot of people like. At least starting off in that season, like the 49ers were beaten twice in that 10-2 start. The Rams were beaten once in that 10-2 start. The Browns. So a lot of teams that we beat in that 10-2 start were teams that people like. So right. You know, it is what it is. Go ahead.
You guys are going to be tough, but coming in at 10, I got Kyler Murray. Coming in at 9, I got the controversial but talented Deshaun Watson. Obviously, there's a lot of hoopla surrounding his name right now. He's still one of the most talented ball throwers in the league, in my opinion. And him and Stefanski and that pro-style offense they run with that offensive line, I think he's going to have a great year. I got K1 at 9. I got K1 at 10, Deshaun at 9. Coming in at 8, I got the reigning AFC champ, Joe Burrow. Only because obviously he had a great year last year, but I just want to see him do it again per se. Like I just don't know if that year was fool's gold or if it was something that he's going to build off of. Mm-hmm. I think it's something he's going to build off of, but I want to see it, and I didn't see enough last year for me to put him above the names that I had coming up next. At 7, I have the guy. We're going to get into preseason picks probably next episode. I got the guy who I think is going to win MVP this year, Justin Herbert of the Chargers. He's one of the most talented ball throwers in the league to me. I think he's already on that top 5 most accurate deep ball list in the league. When you look at the additions his team made, they're going to be crazy this year. Last year, he was the first man out of the playoffs, but still had an amazing season. Still had an amazing season. When it comes to throwing the ball, I don't think there are many more guys that are better at it than Justin Herbert. Coming in at 6, Russell Wilson. We just talked about him a few moments ago. Still one of the most talented guys. Still one of the greatest leaders of men in the entire league. I think on a team like the Broncos where he's really just a plug-in piece pretty much. They already have a defense, O-line, running game. We already talked about the receiving core. Already talked about the coaching staff. I think Russell Wilson can have a great year with the Broncos, and I expect him to. Coming in to start my top 5, I got the hometown kid, Lamar Jackson. I think this guy catches a lot of unnecessary flack, similar to Kyler Murray. A lot of unnecessary flack because his play style may not be the traditional model it is to play quarterback in the NFL. But the guy's one of the toughest covers in the entire league. They say he can't throw, but the year he won MVP, he led the league in passing touchdowns. He's one of the most talented guys the game has probably ever seen at the position. And I think him, along with the troops that he has coming back healthy this year, they'll have a good year. And I think Lamar Jackson will definitely, just like Kyler Murray in the Cardinals, people forget how crazy Lamar Jackson was around midseason last year. He was top 5 in rushing yards and passing yards. Not rushing yards for quarterbacks. He was there with Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor before he got injured. So the guy is just one of the most dynamic quarterbacks that we have, probably that we'll ever see. But coming in at 4, Josh Allen, one of the most well-rounded quarterback in the league as far as passing and throwing. can fling it. One of the strongest armed quarterbacks in the league. I like the Bills this year. I don't want to say it, I'm scared of them, but I'm kind of scared of them. And that playoff game last year with him and Pat Mahomes going back and forth, very well could have had Josh Allen second on my list or first, but I'll keep him at 4. Coming in, start my top 3. Terrific Tom, the kid Tom Brady. What more needs to be said? His pocket presence alone. He's still one of the most accurate ball throwers that we have. One of the greatest leaders of men that we have, Tom Brady. I think they'll have a great year. I think this year is his last year. I know that's like a hot take. I think this is the last season that we'll see of Tom Brady playing football. Second place, the reigning MVP, reigning back-to-back MVP, Aaron Rodgers. Lost his favorite threat, but if it's anything Aaron Rodgers is good at, along with Tom Brady, it's making guys that we may not know look great. I think he'll do that again this year with his featured guy being Alan Lazard. I think that if the Packers, last year they went 13-3, obviously they had a meltdown in playoffs. I think they can go around 17 games this year, 13-4, 14-3, maybe 12-5. He'll be right there again in the talks with the for the MVP award around that midseason, second half of the season time period. And my best quarterback in the league, in my opinion, is still Patrick Mahomes. What can I say? The guy is just, when it comes to just making acrobatic throws, I think he's the best at it. He's still one of the most accurate guys. I said that Josh Allen may have one of the strongest arms. I still think Pat Mahomes has the strongest arm in the league. Losing Tyreek Hill, hot take in my opinion. I don't think they're going to miss a beat. I think the play style that they're going to have to play this year is going to be way more methodical, which is going to be best for him in the long run because, you can't just rely on Tyreek Hill when things get, when the pocket breaks down and you're running back and forth, you're running backwards, cross body throws. It's time to play more methodical, slower playoff style football in the regular season. I think that's what they'll do. And Pat Mahomes is my best quarterback in the league.
It's a great list. I'll be honest with me, that's a great list. Basically the same players for me, just kind of situated and differentiated for me. So number 10, I agree with you. I'm going to put Kyler Murray right there. We know the type of dynamic player he is. Shouldn't even really be a question. Obviously, the thing with Kyler Murray right now is that he needs to have, again, like we said, second half playoff success. But the reason that he's not up on a lot of people's list is because of the fact he doesn't kind of have those signature-esque moments yet down the stretches of games. Like, if you're talking about, when I was talking about this with somebody else, is that the difference between Josh Allen and Kyler Murray isn't a big difference. But when you talk about the difference between them, is literally just what they've done. Like, one player has shown up in big moments, in the biggest moments, I should say, and faltered not because of himself, but because of something else. But Josh Allen has those playoff successes, those moments, those in-game moments. Like, he has those things. Kyler Murray just needs to put all of that together and have a chance to have that. If he has some of these explosive playoff moment or explosive end of the season moments and game-winning drives, again, I tell people all the time, he was robbed of his game-winning drive, fucking AJ Green. If AJ Green turns around, Kyler Murray is a folklore hero when it comes to stuff like that, because he beats Aaron Rodgers. He continues his 8-0. He goes from the 1-yard line to the touchdown. Like, this is all things like that Kyler Murray has put together for himself. And literally since that moment, he has not had a chance to do that again.
Right.
So I'm really like, I want to be able to see that for him because I know he can handle that situation. But I think for his respect in the national media perspective, things like that will be needed. Primetime wins will be needed. Like, beating teams in primetime was what it will be needed. So I think that he has a chance to do that. I think the team puts himself in a good chance. But respectfully, right now, he's really a top 5 talent to me, but I'm going to put him at 10 because of what he's done and the player that he is. Number 9 for me, Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl champion. I was really down on this guy. I believe that he wasn't going to do anything, ever have any type of success when it came to the postseason. Him, Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, all proved me wrong. They were able to do it. For me, when it comes to him, I'm very interested to see if he has a lack of hunger now, because he's now reached the mountaintop. Like, we see that a lot with players and his stature. Like, he's fought so hard to get to the mountaintop that while it is great up here, you got to realize how hard it is to stay up here. So like,
and how bad everyone want to knock you the hell off.
Exactly. So when it comes to that, I have a question mark on that, but I never had a question mark on his talent. He has a team to go crazy when it comes to numbers wise. He has a coach that can scheme anything up. So he's at number 9 for me. Number 8, I have Lamar Jackson. Not a knock to him. And again, I have a bunch of Ravens fans that are friends. They're gonna say I'm hating. They're gonna say I'm this, that. This is not a knock on Lamar Jackson. This is just the 7 other guys have proven to me in a situation, or at least have gotten me in a situation where I can say, if they don't take away, if they do something to you in the game, they have a different way to attack you. Lamar Jackson, and another part of it I should say is that the weapons for me aren't there for Lamar when it comes to these other guys that are going to be over top of him. So it's hard to say that when they take Lamar Jackson, the weapon away, who's going to help him out? Like if they take even at a point to it, if they take Kyler Murray, the weapon away, they still have to account for DeAndre Hopkins. Like they still have to account for a player like Hollywood Brown, like Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews is a certified, solidified, to me, top 4, top 3 tight end in the NFL. Rashad Bateman still has to prove himself. Like that should not even be a question. I get Ravens fans are really happy about him. He still has to prove himself. Like that's a real thing. So at the end of the day, when it comes to weapons wise, we, like you said, you already explained Lamar Jackson. I'm very high on Lamar Jackson this year. I think that's a player I'm looking to grab in some of my fantasy teams this year because I know what he can do when it comes to production of the offense. But when teams focus on Lamar Jackson and stopping Lamar Jackson, we got to see how the Ravens are able to adjust. Greg Roman's able to adjust to still give him success when teams, I should say, look to take away him. So I'm really interested to see when it comes to that. Number 7 for me, his division rival, Joe Burrow. You explained what we know about Joe Burrow. His connection with Chase was 1 of 1. And when it comes to league connections, they still have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, added offensive linemen this year, actual decent offensive linemen this year in centers and guards and tackles. So he'll have some type of protection. So we'll see what he can look like with protection. Still has Joe Mixon back there. So I see, like you said, he's low for me in the same sense because he still has to have a chance to prove himself in the NFL and still has to have that second time or that fear factor that you put in defenses. The rest of the guys that I have on top of him, they put fear into the defenses, including Lamar Jackson. But like I said, it's hard. It's a hard difference between 6 through 8, 7 through 10. Like these are all pretty similar players, but they're just what I have them ranked. What I had 7. Number 6 for me. Justin Herbert, him, Lamar, Burrow, all in that same like echelons of quarterbacks.
All interchangeable.
Yeah, very all interchangeable. Herbert, strong arm, physique, build.
He got it.
Weapons.
You really got it.
He has a chance, like you said. He's your league MVP. He just picked up, I should say, league MVP. We'll go into award winners in a different episode, but he has all the tools to be a great quarterback in the NFL. They have to put it together as a team, and they have to show up together as a team. Like you said, his game against the Raiders last year was incredible. He single-handedly almost carried the Raiders to a playoff. Carried the Chargers to a playoff spot against the Raiders. But his team and his coaching staff had to prove that they won't let him down in situations like that again. So I'm really interested for him, but I am high on him. Like you said, I'm a little higher on him than Burrow. They'll be forever linked with each other, but I'm a little higher on him on Burrow, but they're still both pretty easily top 10 quarterbacks. Number 5 for me, Russell Wilson. I've seen this guy do it his whole entire career. Just because he's on a new team really won't stop that. He had an injury last year, which is the only reason that a lot of people consider him to have a down year. We saw what his last time being healthy was for a full season. They won the division, hosted a playoff game. So going to a team, like I said, that kind of has a defense ready, has wide receiver options ready, running backs ready, O-line ready. So the only thing for him, obviously, will be the new coach, how the new coach handles being a head coach. But Russell Wilson, obviously, top quarterback. Shouldn't even be a question with that. And our top 4 is all the same. I have Josh Allen number 4 for like same reason that you say. He could easily be up there, and he could easily also be down compared to some people. But again, it's the moment things. He's shown up in big moments, huge moments, and provides such a dynamic option of attacking defense. So he's at number 4 for me. Brady at 3 to go Still holding on, came back for another season. So obviously he's still going to be a top 3 quarterback. Right now, he's actually having trouble. Right now, those will be questionable for them because Tristan Wirfs got carted off today in training camp. And his son, Alex Jensen, was Ryan Jensen.
Yeah, Ryan Jensen.
Ryan Jensen was also carted off, I believe, at training camp. So
big.
these are 2 of the best offensive linemen on that thing. Then reasons why Brady was so willing to come back was because of how set in stone that team was. But if both those guys are possibly down for not weeks, then if not the season,
right? That's big.
It'll be interesting to see how they bounce back and what they can create up. But Brady at 3, Aaron Rodgers 2. Like you said, lost Devontae Adams, but I don't think he really loses a step. I think he bounces Alan Lazard up to a level that we haven't seen. Randall Cobb is still there. They're very high on Amari Rodgers. Bob Tunyon coming back. Aaron Jones is still there. I'm hearing the stuff about Romeo Dobbs, their rookie wide receiver. And then they get Christian Watson, who comes off whenever he's healthy. He'll join them in the fold with the training camp as well. So there are options there for Rodgers, so I'm not going to deflate him. And obviously, he gets Bakhtiari back on the offensive line, who I believe he didn't have for most of the season last year. So I'm interested on them. And then obviously, number 1, Pat Mahomes. We'll be seeing you week 1 in the desert, Pat Mahomes. What can we say about him? Big time, big gamer. Really seen him falter the one time when it comes to playoff-wise, which was an AFC Championship game, not being able to score again after halftime was pretty huge. So I'm really interested to see how he comes back out. This will be the first time that he's returning as a starter from not being in the Super Bowl coming into the following the previous season. So we'll see how his mindset comes in. Like you said, obviously losing to Tyreek Hill is huge, but he's one of those elevator type guys, and Travis Kelce's obviously still there. Hopefully they can have Clyde play the whole season. Like,
it might be over for Clyde.
That'll be a player I'm avoiding in fantasy this year, but hopefully they have Clyde hold on for the whole entire season. And still, I mean, they have Sky Moore, who's making big plays in camp. They say they added Juju Smith-Schuster, who they're saying he's likely to be their wide receiver 1. So the weapons, again, still there for Pat Mahomes. But like you said, I like what you said about them possibly having a more methodical offense this year, more steady pace offense, and seeing where that can lead to them. So
they're going to be better when it counts, in my opinion.
So that's my top 10 list. Like I said, pretty similar to yours, some interchangeable players here and there. 2 honorable mentions I get. At least I want to say mention real quick for me, Derek Carr, Deshaun Watson. Those are 2 players that can slide up into 10 or stay out of 10. But I think it's like a 12 to 13 elite top tier quarterbacks in the NFL this year. And then the rest are a couple guys, and then the rest is just a bunch of bumps. So